All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth to rule well. The brother Izar, I'm going to go into the video that El Tahar had made because it goes into Revelations 13. All right, it goes into the rulerships of Esau, which is the seven heads, which would start out with the Greek. Then it would be the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, and then you had that 1,000-year period that he was in a dead state. All right, and then he came back. All right, the Most High brought the Edomites back, and they came back as the Spanish, and they came back as the English. All right, and then they came back as ultimately here in America, because out of the English came the eighth, which is in Revelation 17, and the eighth would be America, that whore, the woman that sits, the woman in scarlet that sits upon the beast, that would be America. All right, so those are the 7 heads. The 10 horns would be in 1970 or 17. Salaki, I can't remember. Let me see if I can get it real quick. I believe it was, let me see, 1957. Salakia, that's what it was. Slipped my mind. In 1957, you had the Treaty of Rome that was signed, all right, by 10 nations, and those 10 nations, ended up expanding, and now it's NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and the EU, the European Union. That was known as the EEC back then when they signed the treaty, but now this whole world, all right, is the platform. Back then it was only the only place being used or named was over there, the Middle East, Asia, Africa. And then it started expanding in the time of Yahweh Shai, more northern. And now, in this time, you have America, Latin America, and you have the islands. Prophecy now is being played out throughout the whole world, which is something that was prophesied in Revelations 13. And soon to come, all right, after all these riots come up and these people try to come up against the government, you're going to have Revelations 13 and 16 play out, which is the RFID chip being implemented as mandatory. Not only that, but you're also going to have martial law, which is a time of trouble, and then a time of temptation would be that RFID chip, and eventually it's going to lead to World War III, and then from World War III it's going to lead to salvation, and these other nations coming up against Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, but Revelations 13 was talking about the Edomites, all right, but whenever I saw this, which a brother said it also kind of looks like an hourglass, and he's right, because when I saw this, I didn't see the hourglass, but my first thought was, if you can see the bigger one, that's the big horn, all right, and then you have the little horn right next to it, which would signify what? That other one being at its full length. The other one looks like it's fully grown already. It's at its peak, which represents Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. Esau, Edom is at his peak, man. Of being in rulership. when he was actually in his peak, was like El-Tahar was going through it. You know, you have the prophecy where it says, and when he sets his nest amongst the stars, you know, then will I begin to bring him down. All right, it's talking about Esau, Edom, you know, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has revealed it unto El-Tahar to prophesy about that for a long time, man. You know, for a long time, that, you know, around the 70s is when America started going downhill. You know, they started going downhill, which is what you have right now. All right, America going downhill. So that big horn to me represents, you know, and I take it as a sign, it represents Esau, Edom's kingdom. It's at its peak. And then on the right, you see the beginning of a new kingdom, all right, a new power, which is what? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and let me start off at verse 1. It says, "And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys of Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they were all made through me alone, and through none other. By me also shall they be ended, and by none other." All right, it says, "Then answered I and said," what? It says, what? Salaki, give me a second. Then he answered unto me, then answered I and said, "What shall be the parting asunder of the times, or what shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?" All right, when shall be the end of the first? Who was the first? It was Esau, Edom. All right, and what did Rebecca? What was Salakia? I have it over here. Genesis 25 and 23. "And Yahweh, all right, the Most High, said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people." All right, which is Jake. Israel is stronger than Esau, all right, physically. You know, it says, "And the elder shall serve the younger." You know, but part of the curses, all right, part of the curses was that Esau, Edom was going to have the rulership before Jacob. All right, Esau, Edom would have the rulership before Jacob. All right, the biggest rulership, which is right now. It's happening right now. The most powerful country in the United States, the most powerful country in the world is the United States. All right, and they proudly boast it. You know, so it says back in 2nd Ezra 6 and 7, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, which is Esau, and the beginning of it that followeth?" All right, which is who? Jacob. "And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac." All right, it's following a chosen line. Abraham, Isaac. "When Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau," which is what? In Revelations 13, it talks about, all right, the bear. All right, it talks about the lion, you know. It talks about the dragon, but the bear represents the end. All right, the end of Esau, Edom is the Russian. All right, the Russian are the bears. You know, they have that bear communist picture that they make. You know, but the bear is the feet. That's what holds you up. You know, so the heel would be the very last part of the foot. You see? So the end of Esau is the Russian, and the heel of Esau is Jacob, which is the beginning of a new rulership, which is the end of the rulership of Esau. So it says, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world. All right, that's the end of this current world that we live in. All right, which we are at the end, according to Scripture. Hebrews 1:1. All right, the Most High has spoken in sundry times to his people by the prophets, and in these last days has he spoken unto us by his Son Yahushua. All right, so we are in the last days, man. All right, and that was when Yahushua was on the scene. Right now we're in the last days. You know, so Esau is the end of the world. We're in the last days, man. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, the beginning of it that followeth. So when I see this picture, I see the end of Esau, all right, which is the big horn, and the little horn, which would be the beginning of Israel, man. Because our people are finally waking up. You know, according to Ezekiel 37, our people are going to wake up and start prophesying, man. You know, our people are going to wake up, and our people are going to come back to their heritage, start praising the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, according to Sirach. All right, the elect are going to praise the name of the Most High. I believe it was Sirach 18, if I'm not mistaken. You know, the elect are going to start praising the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, and like it says in the Gospels, rather that you prophesy, you know, ask for spiritual gifts. You know, want those things. You have to want that. You have to want the kingdom of heaven. All right. But rather that ye may prophesy, man. That's what you should really want. You know, so I'm going to end it with this one. Romans 9:12. And it was said unto her, the elders shall serve the younger. As it is written, verse 13, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? God forbid. For he saith unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is none of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy. All right? So the mercy is to his saints, and his saints are Israelites. You see? And right now, it's the end of Esau Edom's kingdom, man. You know? But I just wanted to do a